Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into a book called The Zen Monkey and the Blue Lotus Flower.
Oh, I love that book.
It's full of these really cool short stories like fables from ancient India.
Right.
Each one has kind of a hidden little lesson tucked away inside.
Yeah, they're packed with wisdom. They take these themes that are, universal, like friendship and awareness and self-control, and then weave them into stories.
It's like a little treasure chest.
Exactly. And they're so relevant to us even today.
So are you ready to dig into some of these hidden gems?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Our first theme is the power of friendship and compassion. And the first story is called The Elephant and the Dog.
Okay.
This story is set in Varanasi, and it features this unlikely friendship. You've got this giant elephant and this little scrappy street dog,
Oh, wow.
and they become best friends.
Really?
The dog is actually, at first, just looking for scraps of rice around the elephant's stable,
Hmm.
but they end up forming this incredible bond.
I love that.
They play together, they bathe together.
Oh.
It's really cute. It just shows that pure joy of companionship.
Yeah, like that connection that goes beyond any differences.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But then, like all good stories, there's a twist.
What happens?
A greedy stable worker decides to sell the dog to make some money,
Oh, no.
and the elephant is heartbroken.
Oh, I bet.
She refuses to eat, to drink, or even to bathe.
That's so sad.
Have you ever felt that kind of sadness when you're separated from someone you really care about?
Oh, absolutely. It's a reminder of just how strong those emotional bonds can be.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of the Buddhist concept of metta.
Oh, right. Tell me about that.
So metta means like universal love,
Yeah.
and it emphasizes kindness and compassion to everyone.
To everyone,
Yeah.
regardless of their differences,
Exactly.
it makes you think, like, do we limit our own compassion sometimes?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Do we close ourselves off from people who seem different from us?
Right, like the elephant and the dog, they came from such different worlds, but they form this amazing bond.
That's meta in action, I guess.
It is. It really is.
Okay, so let's move on to another story about compassion.
Yep.
This one's called The Glittering Duck.
The glittering duck. What's that?
Okay, so picture this. There's this duck, but it's made entirely of gold.
Wow.
I know, right? And this duck lives in the forest, kind of hiding from humans because he's afraid of their greed.
That makes sense if you're a golden duck.
But then he meets this family who lives in a hut nearby,
Okay.
and he sees how kind they are, so he decides to help them.
How?
He gives them a golden feather every now and then.
Oh, wow. So they could sell it.
Yeah, and it really transforms their lives.
That's amazing.
But then the mother, she starts getting greedy. She wants all the feathers all at once.
She wants to pluck the whole duck.
She thinks they'll be rich if she does.
Oh, no.
Her daughters, they try to stop her, but it's too late.
What happens?
When she takes the feathers by force, the magic disappears.
We're not gold anymore.
Nope, just regular feathers.
Wow. It's like the story is saying that real wealth is about kindness and connection, not material things.
Exactly.
That's powerful.
And I love how the daughters still cared for the duck even after he lost his golden feathers.
Right. That shows their compassion was genuine.
Yeah, they weren't just being nice because they wanted something from him.
That's true empathy.
It is.
So what's next?
Okay, ready for something a little different?
Sure.
Our next theme is all about wisdom and awareness, and the first story is The Eagle and the Quail.
Ooh, sounds intriguing.
This one takes place in the farmlands outside of Varanasi.
Okay.
And there's this young quail who's feeling adventurous. So he goes exploring in the forest.
Bold move for a quail.
I know, right? He likes the shade and all the food there, but he doesn't realize how dangerous it is.
Oh, no.
And of course, an eagle spots him.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, the eagle swoops down to catch him.
Yikes. What does the quail do?
So now imagine you're this quail.
Okay, imagine.
This big eagle is about to snatch you up.
Uh-huh.
What do? Do you panic?
I'd probably freeze.
Or do you try to think your way out?
I'd like to think I'd be clever.
Well, that's exactly what the quail does.
Really?
He knows he can't outrun or outfight the eagle.
Right.
So he appeals to the eagle's pride.
What does he say?
He tells the eagle that he would be a much tougher opponent on his home turf.
In the fields.
Yeah, he basically tricks the eagle into thinking that it would be a more glorious victory to defeat him in the open fields.
Wow, so the eagle falls for it.
Yeah, he's a little arrogant,
I guess so.
So he releases the quail,
What, just like that?
and they agree to have this contest out in the fields.
Okay, so what happens next?
Well, the quail, he knows the terrain really well,
Uh-huh.
so he positions himself behind this hard clump of dirt.
Okay.
The eagle, He thinks this is going to be easy.
Yeah, probably.
He dives down at the quail with all his might.
But the quail moves just in time.
He dodges.
Yeah. And the eagle crashes into the dirt.
Ouch!
It's a classic case of brains over brawn.
That's awesome.
I know, right? And remember how the quail's father had told him, "We are always safest on familiar ground"?
Oh, yeah.
I think that applies to more than just physical location.
What do you mean?
It's also about knowing your strengths, and playing to them.
Right, like the quail knew he couldn't beat the eagle in a straight fight.
Exactly, so he had to use his smarts.
It's like sometimes a strategic approach is better than just brute force.
Totally. And the eagle, he was so blinded by its pride that he underestimated the quail.
And he paid the price, literally.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that sometimes we need to step back and assess the situation.
Before we charge in, you mean?
Yeah, sometimes that's the wisest move.
Okay, I like that.
All right, ready for a story that might make you laugh?
Always.
This one's called The Monkey with the Watering Can.
The monkey with the watering can. Okay, I'm intrigued. So this one takes place in the king's garden.
Okay.
And there are all these mischievous monkeys living there.
I can imagine.
The gardener, he has to go to a festival for a week.
Uh-huh.
So he asks the monkeys to water the saplings while he's gone.
He trusts the monkeys with it.
I know, right? But they seem eager to help.
So he gives them instructions.
Yeah, he gives them watering cans and tells them to water the saplings every 4 days.
Seems easy enough.
But the monkeys, they're well-intentioned, but a little misguided.
What do?
The leader of the monkeys, he wants to do a good job.
Okay.
But they don't know how much water to give each sapling.
Uh-oh.
So he gets this brilliant idea.
What is it?
They decide they need to measure the length of each sapling's roots.
To figure out how much water to give them.
Yeah, they think the longer the roots, the more water it needs.
Wait, so they pull the saplings out of the ground to measure the roots?
Yep.
Oh, no.
I know, right? They end up uprooting every single sapling in the garden.
That's hilarious.
It's a total disaster. All in the name of proper watering.
Oh, man, it really makes you think.
About what?
About how important it is to fully understand the situation before you act.
Right. Even with the best intentions, things can go wrong.
Especially if you don't have the right knowledge.
Exactly. It's a reminder to maybe ask for clarification or do some research or just think things through a little more.
Good advice.
All right, so we're going to pause our deep dive here for now, but don't worry, we're just getting started.
Can't wait to hear what's next. Welcome back.
All right, so last time we uncovered some really great lessons about friendship and compassion and even the importance of wisdom and awareness.
Yeah, those were good.
This time we're diving into a theme that's a little bit darker. The deceptive nature of greed and trickery.
Ooh, okay. I'm intrigued.
We're starting with the river-dwelling otters and the clever jackal.
The river-dwelling otters.
And the clever jackal.
Oh, okay.
So imagine you're one of these two otters.
Okay.
And you've just caught this huge fish.
Like a really big fish.
It's called a rohita fish.
Right.
And it's so big that it took both of you to catch it.
Wow.
But now you can't agree on how to split it.
Oh, I can see how that would be a problem.
Talk about a dilemma, right?
Yeah.
So as they're arguing, this jackal comes along.
Jackals are pretty clever, right?
Yeah, they're known for their cunning.
Uh-huh.
And the jackal, he sees an opportunity here.
To trick the otters.
Well, the otters, they're desperate for a solution.
So they ask him for help.
Yeah, they ask him to mediate their dispute.
Oh, okay.
So the jackal, he puts on this act like he's a wise and impartial judge.
Oh, I bet.
He examines the fish very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, the head is for you, to one otter.
Okay.
And to the other otter, he says, and the tail is for you.
That doesn't seem very fair.
The otters, they're just relieved to have a decision, so they agree.
Oh, no, I see where this is going.
And then the jackal, with this sly grin on his face,
He says,
he announces, and for my services in mediating this dispute, I shall take the middle portion. I know. Before the otters can even protest, he snatches the biggest, meatiest part of the fish
and runs off.
and disappears.
Those poor otters.
Yeah, they're left with just the scraps.
That's a tough lesson.
It really is. It shows what can happen when greed clouds our judgment.
Yeah, we can be so focused on getting what we want that we don't see what's really happening.
Have you ever been in a situation where someone pretended to help, but they were actually taking advantage of you?
Oh, yeah. I think we've all been there at some point.
It's so important to be wary of people who offer help but have ulterior motives.
Right. Sometimes those charming smiles can hide some pretty sharp teeth.
Exactly. Okay, are you ready for another tale of deception?
Hit me with it.
This one's called the deceitful heron, and it takes place during a really bad drought.
Okay.
There's this small pond that's drying up,
Oh, no.
and it's full of fish.
So they're trapped?
Yeah, basically.
Uh-oh.
A heron sees this and hatches a plan.
What kind of plan?
He approaches the fish, acting all concerned and compassionate.
I bet.
And he suggests that he can transport them to a bigger pond nearby.
One by one.
Yeah, he says he'll carry them in his beak.
I mean, I wouldn't trust a heron.
The fish are understandably skeptical, too.
Right, who wouldn't be?
So, to prove his good intentions, the heron offers to take one fish to the new pond and back.
Like a test run.
Exactly. And a brave, one-eyed fish volunteers.
Wow, that's brave.
The heron, he actually does take the fish to this beautiful, spacious pond.
Okay.
And the one-eyed fish comes back totally convinced.
And he tells the others.
Yeah, he tells everyone how great the new pond is and how trustworthy the heron is.
Oh, no. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about this.
And so the heron starts carrying the fish, one by one,
Uh-huh.
but he doesn't take them to the pond.
Where does he take them?
He takes them to a secluded tree,
And
and he eats them.
he eats them.
Yeah, he devours each one, leaving just a pile of bones.
That's awful.
It's heartbreaking, right?
Yeah, but what about the crab? You mentioned a crab earlier.
Oh, right. So the heron, he thinks he's outsmarted everyone.
Of course.
But then he encounters this crab.
Uh-huh.
The crab has been watching the fish disappear, and he's suspicious.
Smart crab.
So the crab agrees to be transported,
Really?
but he insists on clinging to the heron's neck.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, he says it's for safety.
Uh.
The heron, he's overconfident, so he agrees.
Okay, and then...
As they're flying over the larger pond, the crab casually asks, "Are we there yet?"
Oh, I love it.
And the heron, he drops the act.
He admits what he's doing.
Yeah, he reveals his true intentions.
But he's got the crab on his neck.
Exactly. The crab, he tightens his grip
Yeah.
and forces the heron to land in the pond.
Yes.
The heron tries to get free, but the crab uses his claw to sever the heron's neck.
Oh, wow. That's, intense.
It's a pretty satisfying ending, though, right?
Definitely. It's like sometimes the underdog wins.
It shows that intelligence and courage can prevail, even against deception.
And it's a reminder to pay attention and trust your gut.
Totally. If something feels off, it probably is.
All right, so what's next?
Okay, ready to lighten things up a bit.
Yeah.
Our next theme is all about self-control and integrity, and we're starting with a story called The Chatty Turtle.
The chatty turtle. Okay.
So picture this. You've got two geese who are getting ready to migrate for the winter,
Okay.
and they have this friend, a turtle, who's really sad to see them go. He wishes he could fly with them.
I can relate to that.
The geese, they know the turtle can't fly, but they come up with this idea.
What is it?
They tell him to bite down on a stick, and they'll carry him between them as they fly.
That's creative.
But there's a catch.
What's the catch?
The turtle has to stay absolutely silent the whole time.
Oh, that sounds hard for a chatty turtle.
If he talks, he'll lose his grip and fall.
Oh, no.
The turtle, he's so excited about the plan that he agrees.
So they set off.
Yeah, and at first, everything goes smoothly,
Mhm.
but then they fly over a village, and the people see this strange sight, a turtle being carried by geese.
I bet they were surprised.
One of the children shouts up to the turtle, asking why he's being carried.
Oh, no.
And the turtle, he forgets the rule.
He talks.
He opens his mouth to answer, and he plummets to the ground.
Oh, that poor turtle.
It's a funny story, but it has a serious message
About...
about the importance of self-control.
I see that.
How often do we, make promises or set goals, but then get distracted and sabotage ourselves?
It happens all the time.
The turtle, he couldn't control his impulse to talk, even though he knew the consequences.
It's a reminder that sometimes our biggest obstacle is ourselves.
So true. Okay, ready for one more story about inconsistency?
Bring it on.
This one is called The Fickle Wolf.
It's a fickle wolf. Okay.
It takes place near the Ganges River.
All right.
And there's this wolf who gets stranded on a tiny island because of a flood.
Uh-huh.
So he decides to undertake a sacred fast.
He's gonna stop eating.
Yeah, he thinks it'll make him a better, more virtuous being.
Interesting.
He even tries to meditate, like he's seen holy men do.
Wow, he's really committed.
But then a goat gets swept onto the island by the floodwaters.
Man.
The wolf completely abandons his vow and tries to catch the goat.
No way. So much for his sacred fast.
I know, right? Of course, the goat is too quick for him.
Uh-huh.
So the wolf goes back to his meditation spot, all exhausted.
Yeah.
And he declares that he didn't actually break his fast.
He's kidding, right.
I know. He tries to justify his actions by saying that since he didn't actually catch the goat, he didn't technically eat anything.
That's some twisted logic.
It really highlights the difference between real change and just pretending.
Right, like he was only being good because it was convenient,
Exactly. True transformation takes real effort and consistency.
not just doing the right thing when it's easy.
There's this pelican in this story who sees the whole thing and calls the wolf out on his hypocrisy.
Good for the pelican.
It's a reminder to walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. All right, welcome back to our final deep dive into the Zen Monkey and the Blue Lotus Flower.
I'm ready for more.
Great. We've already explored so many fascinating themes. Friendship, wisdom, greed, and self-control.
Yeah, it's amazing how much these stories have to offer.
This time, we're focusing on lessons in respect and responsibility.
Oh, interesting.
Our first story is called The Partridge, the Primate, and the Mighty Elephant.
Mm.
Have you ever had, like, a disagreement with a friend,
Oh, yeah, all the time.
and maybe it, like, threatened your bond a little?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, that's kind of what this story's about.
These three friends.
Yeah, they realize they need a way to keep things harmonious.
What do?
They decide to establish a hierarchy.
Like, who's in charge?
Exactly. And they agree that the oldest should be the leader.
That makes sense, respecting elders and their experience.
Right. But now they have to figure out who's the oldest.
How do they do that?
They use a giant banyan tree as a measure.
A tree.
Yeah, each friend shares their earliest memory of the tree.
Oh, that's clever.
The elephant, he remembers when the tree was just a tiny seedling.
Wow.
The monkey, he remembers when it was a shrub, and he's to nibble on the sprouts.
Okay.
But the partridge, she has a memory that goes back even further.
Really?
She remembers when there was another banyan tree across the river,
Okay.
and she ate its fruit and carried its seeds, and those seeds grew into the tree they're all standing under now.
So she's the oldest.
Exactly. The monkey and the elephant, they accept her as their leader without any argument.
They respect her wisdom.
And the partridge, she emphasizes mutual respect and dignity in their interactions.
So their friendship stays strong.
It's a beautiful reminder that age and experience often bring valuable insights.
Yeah, and it's important to be humble and learn from those who have come before us.
Sometimes the wisest among us aren't the loudest or the strongest, but the ones who have lived long enough to gather wisdom.
That's a good point.
Okay, ready for our final story.
Yeah, hit me.
This one's called The Parakeet That Understands Responsibilities.
Okay.
It's a heartwarming story about a flock of parakeets who live on a hilltop.
All right.
They're ruled by a king and queen, and they have a son who's known for his beauty.
Okay.
As the king and queen get older, their son starts leading the flock to their feeding grounds.
Makes sense. He's taking on more responsibility.
Yeah, and their feeding grounds are these vast rice fields that belong to a wealthy landowner.
Oh.
The caretaker of the fields, he tries to scare the parakeets away.
But they keep coming back.
Yeah, they need to eat.
Right.
The caretaker, he notices this one particularly beautiful parakeet who gathers a lot of rice and flies off with it. He tells the landowner about it, and the landowner decides he wants to capture this special bird.
To keep for himself.
Yeah, he's intrigued.
So they set a trap.
Yeah, and the next day, guess who gets caught?
The parakeet king.
The king.
Oh.
But here's the thing. He doesn't try to escape right away.
Why not?
He doesn't want to alarm the flock and disrupt their feed.
Wow, he's putting their needs before his own.
Exactly. It's only after the other parakeets have eaten their fill that he makes a noise to alert them.
So they can escape.
Yeah, he sacrifices himself so the others can be safe.
That's incredibly selfless.
I know, right? So, the caretaker brings the captured king to the landowner.
And?
The landowner, he's curious, so he asks the parakeet why he's taking the rice.
Okay.
And the parakeet explains that he's taking it to his parents who are too old and weak to fly to the fields themselves.
Oh, wow, that's heartbreaking.
The landowner, he's so moved by the parakeet's devotion and selflessness that he releases him.
Really?
Yeah, he even tends to his wounds, offers him food, and gives the whole flock permission to feed from his fields from now on.
Wow, what a transformation.
It's a beautiful example of how love and respect and responsibility can have a ripple effect.
Yeah, the parakeet's actions had such a profound impact on the landowner.
It's a reminder that even small acts of kindness can change the world. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Zen Monkey and the Blue Lotus Flower, I'm curious, which stories resonated with you the most?
Oh, that's tough. There were so many good ones.
I know, right? We've explored so much: friendship, wisdom, greed, self-control, respect, and responsibility.
Yeah, it's incredible how relevant these ancient tales still are today.
They really offer timeless wisdom.
They do.
We hope you'll take some time to reflect on these stories and think about how the lessons might apply to your own life.
That's a great idea.
These fables are just a starting point.
Yeah.
There are so many other sources of wisdom out there waiting to be discovered.
Keep seeking, keep exploring.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us on this journey.